Hey there, it's Dr. Guerrero here to review you for the Anatomy 260 Week 4 quiz. This is our first week of the nervous system. We will have another week of the nervous system, so this is week 1. So I just call it Nervous System 1. Basically, we're just introducing all the aspects of the nervous system, the different divisions, and the different types of cells and tissue and basic functions. So, of course, like with every system that we're going to quiz over, we want to know the functions of that system and the organs associated with that system. And this is all very general, but it is important that you're familiar with those. As I mentioned, because this is the first week of the nervous system, we're going to talk about the different nervous systems and the different divisions. So you have the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, the somatic nervous system. Make sure you're familiar with the general organs associated with those, the location, and the functions. You also need to know afferent versus efferent, or afferent and efferent, and then ascending and descending. Make sure you know the difference. Make sure you know what type of information is sent in those directions. Be familiar with the difference between sensory information and the direction it travels, motor information, direction that it travels. Be familiar with the reflex arc. Know the details from the stimuli all the way to the effector, okay? And know what part of the nervous system is utilized for a reflex. Is it all the way up to the brain? Does it just go to the spinal cord? Does it just make it to that nerve? No details of the reflex arc. The different types of receptors: somatic receptors, visceral receptors, proprioceptors, mechanoreceptors, thermoreceptors, exteroceptors, interoceptors. Knowing the difference between those types of receptors, what type of information they receive or transmit. As far as the cytology, so the nervous cells found in the nervous system, you need to know the general anatomy of a neuron. And that includes like the cell body, which is also called the soma, the dendrites, axon hillock, which all of this should be kind of familiar from the muscular system during week 3, but then the actual axon terminals. So making sure you know the general anatomy, okay? The myelination pattern. So whether it's Schwann cells or oligodendrocytes, being familiar with that. Then there's the neuroglia. So there's only 2 types of cells in the nervous system. There's the neuron, and then there's neuroglia. And there are different types of neuroglia: the ependymal cells, satellite cells, microglial cells, astrocytes, Schwann cells, oligodendrocytes. So make sure you're familiar with that. And right now I feel like I'm missing one. I probably am, because I feel like there should be one more, but I'll think of it later, I'm sure. Anyways, make sure you're familiar with the neuroglia and their function and their location. So whether they're central nervous system or peripheral nervous system, what jobs have they been assigned or are they responsible for? Then the last part of the nervous system, week 1, is the histology. So remember, histology is the study of tissue. So the meninges, and I've gone ahead and told you that there's 3 layers: the dura mater, arachnoid mater, and pia mater. You need to know characteristics, location, and function of the meninges. You need to be very familiar with the anatomy of the spinal cord. In nervous system week 2, we'll go over details of the anatomy of the brain, but right here we're really honing in on the spinal cord. So dorsal root, ventral root, lateral horns, gray matter, the divisions of the gray matter, white matter, all of that. Be familiar with the anatomy and what those aspects are responsible for. So there's a lot of information transmitted through the spinal cord. Then there are 2 words that when you listen to the lecture, I distinguish, but I need you to pay special attention to the word tract, T-R-A-C-T, versus nerve. So you'll hear when they're talking about a certain nervous system, they always say tracts, and that indicates to you, hey, this is this nervous system, versus using the term nerve, which means it's found in another nervous system. So make sure you're familiar with the distinguishing characteristics of tracts and nerves. And for this quiz, there's only one tract out of all of them that you need to be very familiar with, and I'm going to emphasize very familiar with, the spinothalamic tract. This is also the point of your discussion board, so please make sure that you do a little bit of research before you make your initial post. A lot of students get confused with this, and it only takes a few minutes to figure out the spinothalamic tract. And the only nerve that you need to be concerned about is the largest nerve in the body, and I'm going to let you research that as well. Don't hesitate to join a tutoring session or send me an email, ask questions, but here is your review for week 4. So I'm going to go through it one more time slowly so you can get everything. And that's it. So good luck and study hard. I appreciate your time.